you're tuned into your favorite. Never lying when I say this, but your favorite sports podcast, roaming the airwaves, rolling with Ramos. I happen to be, as I always am, the one that holds the last name Ramos. I would like to specifically thank my daddy for that one. Mike Ramos in heaven. I love you. Miss you every day. Episode 145, people. Five. One, two, three, four, five. We are, Tristan. Five of them things away from 150. We might have been there a little bit sooner, but life has a crazy way of jumbling up these weeks. And sometimes, hey, we can't get to you. We can't get there. We're great that you still look for us. We got some sports to talk about today. Episode 145. Now listen. Mike knew that his ass should never would left 23 and went to 45. It's like he took off his armor when he took off 23 because he was not the same guy. A lot of superstition would believe that he was worse in 45 than 23 and that his body just couldn't play under 45 and 23 did something to him. Anyway, in that regard, he had wore two jerseys. Episode 145. Hey, the Michael Jordan edition. Tristan, what's up, baby?
What's going on? Like you said, it's been a minute since we were able to get on here. Life do be lifing. You could definitely tell it's a different when you are when we were like younger in college because it's like we ain't had that many responsibilities. It's easy to kind of hop on and do these things all the time. But then as full blown adults, it's so many responsibilities taking place and you trying to juggle. So we definitely appreciate you guys for rocking with us and contacting Mikhail basically saying, "Hey, where y'all at?" You know what I'm saying? So we definitely appreciate the love and that y'all been staying true to us, and we're just excited to get back in the game, get back into the show. I think Mikhail's probably dealing with some technical stuff, so we're gonna keep rocking while we get back into it. But definitely excited about what we're going to talk about tonight with you guys. We got to catch up on a bunch of stuff: NCAA, NFL, NBA, all these different things that's been going on. The draft is coming up in a couple of weeks. We just came off of two national championship games, so it's a lot. It's a lot that's happening. So definitely excited. She is back. We're going to get this thing rolling. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and talk about it.
Apparently, I didn't want to do a show, right? Anyway. Anyways, I'm going to drink this water. Let's get going. Okay, so March Madness is over. The madness of March is over. Apparently,
Mm-hmm.
Mother Nature still wants to keep the madness of winter going because I don't know what the hell is going on outside. There was snow up here, Tristan. Anyways,
Wow.
we missed talking about this because, like you said, life happens. When we started this little show, you hadn't gotten married yet. You hadn't had a baby yet. I hadn't had all these responsibilities. And here we are now. So the times have definitely changed. We was working, you know,
Yep.
but times have changed. So we got to go back a little bit because we got to talk about Juju. USC star Juju Watkins suffered a torn ACL, as we know, with her team's 96-59 win over number 9 seeded Mississippi State at the time in the second round of the 2025 Women's Championship, the NCAA tournament. Just over 5 minutes into the game, Watkins was pushing the ball into transition when she was immediately bumped by multiple defenders. She immediately collapsed to the ground and screamed out in pain as she grabbed at her right knee. Watkins went down during the first quarter and was writhing on the floor in pain. She needed to be carried off the floor without putting any weight on her injured leg. I've never heard an arena get quiet so quickly, said a USC staff member later that day. I'd be lying if I told you that I wasn't rattled seeing Juju on the floor, Lindsey Gottlieb admitted after the game. This is a human game. So I obviously tried my best to be what I need to be for the team. But internally, it's a lot. It was emotional. You had to be there to feel it. Tristan, I didn't get a chance to get your thoughts on the initial down of Juju. Um, let's just talk about the injury first. When you saw it, how did you feel?
Oh, the same way all the rest of them felt. It was literally sick to my stomach because you know when you watch it, when you watch as much sports as what we watch, you tend to know after a while. You tend to kind of see. Not to say that we're sports physicians or doctors or anything like that, but 9 times out of 10, when we see somebody move a certain way and something happens, we kind of know what it probably is. And the way she went down, really not any contact at all. It's just the way she went down, how her knee kind of buckled. I was just like, it was like you in my mind immediately said she tore her knee, but you
Yes.
were just hoping she didn't. And when I saw her just kind of writhing in pain like that, and then had to get carried off, and I'm like, everybody's waiting for the report. We praying. I'm hoping and praying that it's not. I want to be wrong, but I'm like, I've seen it too many times. I've seen players go down like that too many times, and it's more than likely a tear. And then when the report came, it was like you knew it, but you were still sad. And I was definitely sad. One, I was sad just because of the person that she is, the human being that she is, what she's been to women's basketball, and what she's been to girl athletes in general, and even boy athletes. Just her swagger, how she carries herself. Um, but also as a player, because um, we wanted to see the Juju versus Paige Beckers.
Yeah, we did.
We wanted to see that matchup, and it just feel like it just kind of got robbed. And shout outs to the basketball team to be able to finish that game and win. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm looking from afar, someone that's never met her in person, someone that's never talked to her, just being a fan from afar, and I felt sick to my stomach. I can only imagine what the coaches, the fans that are there at USC, her teammates, her family. I can only imagine what they felt in that moment as well.
It's crazy because the game prior, I was holding my breath a little bit and thinking to myself, like it was just this every time something happened to her, she had the ankle, and we thought that she hurt her ankle, and every time she touched something happened, she touched herself, and we kept thinking, oh, please don't let
Yeah,
nothing be wrong with her. And it just was this overcasting. Speaking of her teammates, speaking of a tournament, when Watkins went down, it cast a pall on March Madness and changed the dynamics of the NCAA championship picture. With her USC, with her USC teammates, she was a national title contender with her. They were a national title contender. That becomes less likely. It did become less likely. When the
sure.
brackets first came out, like you said, Tristan, one of the things people were first pointing to was a potential regional first matchup between Juju Watkins and Paige Beckers. But she is without question one of the biggest stars in women's college basketball, along with Paige Beckers. And to lose that star at this point of the tournament, first, my heart goes out to her, but just disappointed for women's basketball in general. That was Rebecca Lobo. The rest of the tournament's tagline, it seemed to have been, Tristan, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, what if Juju? I don't think any of the teams left in the tournament have a player who is as important to their success as Juju Watkins is to USC's. Without her on the floor, this is not a USC team I think could win a national championship, Rebecca Lobo said. Watkins was in the midst of a special season, averaging 23.9 points, 6.8 rebounds, 3.4 assists, 2.2 steals, and 1.8 blocks per game. Watkins was named the Big Ten Player of the Year and was a unanimous first team All American for the second straight season. She also earned first team All Big Ten and Big Ten Defensive Team selections. We all know about the AP award. A lot of people had a lot to say about Rebecca Lobo said. It says, what are her teammates saying about this and this and that? But
Sure.
we talk about generational, Tristan, and there's no mistake about the fact that, hey, the Bulls are different with Mike Jordan not on the court. This is true. That was true. Correct?
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, that's why I gave the shout out to the USC women's basketball team for their their effort in the tournament. But everyone knows everything ran through Juju. Not only her offensive prowess being the scorer that she is, but even defensively, what she could do on the floor. I mean, yeah, you're talking about the most talented, the heartbeat of the team. I mean, it's hard to overcome. It's like you said, it's like when the Bulls didn't have Jordan. Yeah, they were still formidable, but they weren't the juggernaut. It was just like when
No.
LeBron left the Cavaliers his first go around. They went into the abyss. Like it's just certain players, and it's not to discredit the ones that were there. That's why I keep emphasizing that the women's basketball team was awesome. The USC excuse me, the USC girls were awesome. So it's not to discredit them at all. But when you have a player that is so um, magnetic, is so talented as Juju it's hard to overcome, especially to be in the tournament. It wasn't like this was like during the regular season or whatever, where they could have tried to find some chemistry,
Yeah.
without her and build towards the tournament. You're in it. It's one game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's hard. It was hard to overcome.
If we're talking about the other side of this, a lot of people say UConn's road to the chip was kind of easy once Juju went down. I mean, if we go back to the regular season, USC beat UConn. It wasn't pretty, and it wasn't pretty. A lot of people said that UConn couldn't hold it down against the big teams in the women's basketball anymore. Another thing coming. Before I get to that, though, in other NCAA women's news, LSU star Flo J. Johnson not declaring for the WNBA draft. She's going to run it back. Who else is running it back? AZ Fudd. First of all, Tristan, shout out to the DMV. Shout out to Arlington, Virginia.
Yep.
Shout out to St. John's High School. Shout
Yep.
out to the Archdiocese of Washington. As a Catholic school girl myself, I wanted to go to St. John. I said I wasn't paying Catholic school money anymore. Anywho, we move on. UConn 82, South Carolina 53. They poured it on them. 12th championship. Gino and the girls get it done again. They asked Gino when he was going to retire. Gino says, hey, at one point is going to say, I'm not good enough to do this anymore. And I need to move on. Loosely translated, Tristan, I'll leave when I want to leave. Why would he leave? 12 championships. It's a parade inside my city. I get a chance to go work the parade on Sunday. It
Oh,
would have
awesome.
been tomorrow, but it's supposed to rain. It's going to
Hmm.
be nasty here. But
Hmm.
anyways, Sarah Strong, she only a freshman, Tristan. This is going to continue to go on. Paige Beckers, out of all that she's been through, she hasn't been able to play. She's lost in the tournament, lost in the Final Four, sat out with a knee injury. She goes out on top, and she goes out as number one pick. AZ Fudd, they have not been able to be in that backcourt together because they both battled injuries. She had an amazing game. I thought the game she had set the tone, and Sarah followed, and Paige just finished it off. Uh, Unfortunately, what we won't get a chance to see from this team, and it just speaks to the volumes of the fact that we still can't believe this man and his child are gone. But Gigi Bryant would have been on this freshman team, and we all know
Absolutely.
she wanted to go here. Could
Yeah.
you have them? They would have been the Megatrons. That's what this would have even been. Gigi, could you imagine what her game would have been by the time she got to college? Anyways,
Oh man.
Tristan,
Yeah.
UConn, 12 of them things. Mr. The up character of the old man. Shout out to Gino. I can't believe that man looks just like that cartoon. Anyways, UConn does it again, Tristan. It's a parade inside my city, yeah. How do we feel about it?
I mean, again, with Juju being out, it kind of puts a little what if factor because Juju definitely put a show on them their first go around in the regular season. So you kind of wonder what it would have looked like
Yeah.
for her to have that stage. But nonetheless, uh, they did beat South Carolina. And the one
Made
thing that
South Carolina look normal.
yeah, and but I was watching the game with a friend of mine, and I told him I said the thing that made me nervous with South Carolina was the fact that this is the first time that she's assembled a team without that one big star player.
Yeah.
And it's not a knock against Don Staley. It's just the fact that she always had that one player that kind of centered everybody else.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when you don't have that player, I mean, you think of Boston, you think of course Asia Wilson. Um, you think of who else? You think of uh, who else? Cardoza. You think of certain players that she had. It just to be able to center the entire team around that was the focal point. She didn't have that one takeover player that she
Yeah.
normally would have. And so, like in a game like that, you needed that one player that would just say, no, we're not laying down like that. And it's really just youth, they were young. I think she had what, like I think two or three of them were freshmen that were
Yeah.
starting on the starting lineup. So, and they were good. It wasn't like they were bad, but when you have that and then you go against UConn that had Fudd, had Page, that lineup, they already had the size advantage, one. And how they played defense, I think so underrated how UConn plays defense.
Yeah.
So when you interrupt that flow of having, your shooters are struggling and you can't get anything in the paint. Pow Pow didn't have a strong game. When she's normally the one you can get an outside bucket where she didn't have a strong game. So when you see those kind of things happen, it just rents for disaster because again, you don't have the one player that can say no, not today. You don't have that. So I think one, she's probably going to recruit and try to find that blue chip, that gem. I saw what you call it. I forgot her name. Forgive me. Uh,
Malaysia.
yeah, that's transferring. I think that's
She
good
could
for
have
her.
been, but the streak and you can't just the offense is amazing because those
Not for
little
Don
spots they
Staley.
put her in. But
Yeah,
you need some defense and it has to
not for Don
be
Staley. Don Staley plays that position. She's always going to try to find someone similar in her image because that's how
yeah.
she knows it. So and she's not that. Even though she's great, I think wherever she goes, she's going to be awesome. But just for that system, I don't think it works. So South Carolina's going to be back. They're going to they'll be
Yeah,
good.
two
But
out of the
now,
last four. Come
yeah,
on.
but now they got to understand they got to deal with UConn because that is a young, big team. Paige,
It's
Paige,
mm-hmm.
Paige, and them is leaving and all that, but you you got them two little towers over there that are just freshmen. So
Yeah.
you had to deal with her for for the
And to
next
be
three,
able to
four
see
years.
AZ being the veteran and I thought she set the tone at the
Hmm.
beginning. It
Hmm.
just seemed like once that defense got started and the offense wasn't clicking for South Carolina, but AZ set the tone.
Hmm.
And even Paige was a little shocked, to get the tournament player, best tournament player. It was a toss up between AZ and Sarah, but AZ set the tone. I mean, you got Sarah just shooting threes from the top of the key with a hand in her face. What can you really do with that?
Exactly. And again, their way of playing defense is so it has so much tenacity. It's aggressive. They 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 drown you once you have the
Yeah,
ball in your hand, but could still agile enough to get into zone when need be, so you don't get clear vision at all. It was a well played out defensive performance, and then you get those the two freshman girls to score the way they're scoring, and then Paige just picks up the key pieces towards the end of the game because she was
KK.
running slow. Yeah, I mean, it was just you just didn't have an answer. I think the I felt so bad for Don Staley because she kind of became a meme on social
Yeah,
media. Her frustration on the bench, but that's what Gino's defense does to you. It will frustrate you because there's just no answer whatever you try to throw out there. But I think South Carolina. I think this is something they'll learn from. I'd
yeah,
be interested to see them back in this because when I think of UCLA, they have no defense. So it was all scoring. So it's like, can you outscore them and stop them enough, which UConn was able to do? I'm thinking about all the teams in the tournament. I just, unless someone makes a decision to go to LSU that can be of an Angel Reese type of player with the rebounding. People talk about, because her game isn't flashy, but you don't realize how important that rebounding, second chance opportunities, and things like that, how key it was. And you noticed it this year because they didn't really have anybody that was doing that. So when I think about the tournament, would it shock me? I could see. Well, if the numbers shake out the same way, I don't know if UConn would have beaten USC with
Yeah.
Juju healthy. So now I'm interested to see. I think it's a three-horse race. I think between South Carolina, UConn, and USC, because I think they had a commit that was real good that's coming next year for them. So I think between South Carolina, USC, and UConn, I think LSU is kind of there, but I feel like Coach Moki is starting to lose her reins a little. Um, so we'll see. But I'm excited about women's college basketball upcoming season. It's going to be good.
Well, speaking of that, someone said that UConn was blamed for many years of they got too much talent. They're running the tables every year, and they're too dominant. But now the transcending of the league with more stars and more power, like you just said, Tristan, nobody's complaining. Nobody's complaining at all.
Well, here's the thing. And I remember used to hear that all the time about UConn. Here's the thing, though. Don't the kids get to choose where they want to go?
Hmm.
Okay, so what's the problem? If you give them a winning product, that was just like when that person made a comment about Don Staley at South Carolina having all these All Americans or whatever. Okay, didn't
And
they choose to go there? They made a choice, right? If you show a winning product, if I'm looking at UConn, I'm looking at Tennessee, I'm looking at uh, uh, um, South Carolina and LSU. Okay, who are the stars in the WNBA? Okay, what programs did they come out of? Majority of them that are the stars came out of South Carolina, Tennessee, UConn, LSU, uh, um, 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 Notre Dame, Oregon. Like, what are we talking about? So, yeah, if I want to have a chance to play in the WNBA, or I want a chance to be on television, you know, two nights a week or whatever, I'm going to go to the school that provides that. I'm going to go to the school that has a proven product. So yeah,
yeah,
you're going to hear the same names. Now you're going to, of course, you'll get some outliers or whatever that will choose a program. Maybe it's their hometown or what have you. But then if your program is not built or it's not suited up to be competitive, and you being a player in that program, you're eventually going to want to do what? You're going to want to transfer. Why? Because you want to get to a program that's going to give you an opportunity to win.
yeah.
That's what happens. So build the program, build a winning culture, and your players will come. But until then, Gino is going to eat. Don Staley is going to eat. Moki is going to eat. That's just what it is.
Shout out to Van Leaf. I got an honorable mention that.
Oh yeah,
Speaking
yep,
of
yep.
speaking of Gino,
TCU. Mhm.
he's now he's already been in the class. We always talk about Pat Summitt, but he's been in the class of
Oh,
Phil
all time.
Jackson,
Hmm.
Red Auerbach,
Hmm.
you
All
know,
time.
these great coaches. Tristan, we speak all the time about being a leader of men, but the biggest part of this whole thing was seeing Paige just melt in his arms
Hmm.
after this was all done. We talk
Hmm.
about being a leader of men. Speak
Hmm.
to how it is to be a leader of women,
Well,
especially as a male coach.
yeah, you nailed it right on the head. Especially as a male coach, especially in a male coach of this time. I mean, could you imagine, God forbid, because I hate that I even mentioned this, but I have to because it is the reality. Could you imagine if some kind of scandal had came out about Gino with one of these players? The fact
Yeah,
that all these years, he's just been class personified when it came to these players, tough love, treating them like family. And, they talk about Paige and them talk about the stories of, inviting her and her family to his home with his wife and his kids and having dinner and talking and all this stuff, talking about business, talking about life after basketball. What do you want to do? Your education, things of that nature. And then I mean, really, the icing, the feather in the cap for Gino is the fact that when he was given Diana Taurasi her flowers after announcing her retirement and her emotion. This is the white mamba showing
Yeah,
emotion. That is, to me, is the feather on the cap to express the um, love and appreciation and the investment and the dedication that Gino has had for these players for all of these years. And you're absolutely correct. He's been etched in stone. Any championship he gets now, in this one and any other after, is are just icing on the cake. He's already etched himself as an all-time great coach, and for him to be a male coach, like you said, in a women's basketball, it's phenomenal. And making them feel, not only making them feel good just as women, but making them feel good, period, as being players, as being professionals, being confident to go out into this world after.
yeah.
When you think of all these people um that are thriving, that came out of UConn, and they talk about UConn. I mean, and then, like I said, again, him being a male, I don't think it's talked about enough. I don't think he's celebrated enough
Yeah.
for what he's truly done for basketball in general, let
Yeah.
alone college women's basketball.
Oh, they love to come back. That picture of Paige, Sarah, and AZ sitting on the bench, and then you got Maya Moore and and Sue
Who
Bird and
who's
Diana
who some
Taurasi behind
who
them.
some considered it. I mean, you just named three names of women that are
That
in
whole
the
picture was
conversation of
buckets.
being, yeah, exactly. You mentioned three women just now who are considered to be the goats of the WNBA. Like, they're in the conversation of being
Soon
goats
to be
in the,
Hall of Famer, Sue Bird
and Maya Moore. Like,
and Maya Moore.
you just mentioned these women, and they all come from his teaching, his ilk. And like you said, they always love to come back. They always love to come back. That says a whole lot to the man. Class personified. I've always been a fan of Gino.
Yeah.
um so I just hope he keeps going for as long as he wants, for as long as he wants.
He came to this country when he was 7. Basketball helped him generate some type of community in America. And guess what? Hey, look, I don't know who celebrated better, Diana Taurasi and Sue Bird in the locker room with and he
Partying
did
up.
say that this championship meant a little bit more, I think, because of the duration, the 6 years in between. And
Yep.
he didn't speak to himself. He spoke about what AZ
I was about to
and
say,
Paige went
when you think
through.
about yeah, when you think about Az and Paige's journey, that's why as much as I felt bad for Don Staley and those girls in South Carolina, I was equally, if not probably more, elated for Paige Beckers and Az and Gino and those women to get that championship, because it
Yeah,
was earned. When you think about, like, people gotta remember, and again, it's unfortunate because you just don't see the coverage the way you do for the boys when they're in high school. Paige Beckers was a like, considered a phenom.
yeah,
There was a tweet that did numbers. I don't know if you saw it. There's a tweet that did numbers that weekend, that somebody from when she was in sixth grade tweeted. They had its timestamped. When she was in sixth grade, had tweeted at the time that she was in sixth grade. They said, "Look out for this girl, Paige Beckers, the best sixth grader I've ever seen." And they retweeted it to say, "Look," right after she won the championship. They retweeted to show everybody, like, this is the girl I was talking about. So this was someone that was highly touted going into college, and then the injuries after injuries, and you just wondered if we were ever going to see
yeah,
who she was. And I was so glad, not only that she won the national title, but I'm so glad that the game before she cranked out 40 points, because it was just like the paying homage to all you UConn fans. Like, thank you for having my back all these years. This is what you were looking for when I came here, and this is my way of saying thank you. dropping 40 to get them in the national championship, and then having a great performance in the national championship, and now you get to go off as a champion. You got what you came in to do through all the injuries, all the challenges. That is amazing. Amazing.
Something easy for us to talk about, but something very hard for us to talk about. And
What's going on,
I
Mike?
understand if you don't want to take too much time to do this, but
Sure.
I don't honestly feel like, and I don't know if you feel this way, we wouldn't even be here. Granted, women's basketball and the evolution of it, and you Johnny come latelys that's come back around and act like you never knew women's college basketball was here and this and that. But to the degree we are here, I don't think we would even have started without Kobe Bryant. His
Sure.
daughter is no longer here as well. It's hard to believe them. It's hard to believe that man's gone. But then his daughter. How did you at one point catch yourself watching this and say, "Damn, Gigi could have been on this team. Gino could have been coaching Gigi. Kobe could have been at this game, and she could have did something her father didn't do, and that's win a national championship."
It honestly did not hit. I'm being honest. It did not register or hit me until um Vanessa uh posted what she posted on Instagram, and then I started to count the years, and I said, oh my god, she would have this would have been her national championship.
Yep.
That's when it hit me. It was that moment when I saw people reposting Vanessa's post on Instagram about, Gigi would have loved to have been here, and I was like, wait, and I started counting. I said, oh my goodness. And so yeah, it was very humbling,
Yeah.
and a little bit of that's a somber moment in that, to say, wow, what we could have possibly seen with, imagine if it was Paige and Gigi in the backcourt. Like, what would that have looked like? For them to both have the similar, I would assume probably similar personalities, that kind of tenacity, intense, and being bucket getters. I'm just like, what would that have looked like? Yeah, it was definitely a somber moment for sure. But I'm glad that they honored her all the way through. I'm really happy about that.
This is the year of the Huskies. Hey, you win a national championship. The game's being called by Rebecca Lobo. And you got Diana Taurasi and Sue Bird doing their own show up at the top. All these legends coming through. That's crazy. Little tidbit for you, because the draft is on the way. WNBA draft ticket prices have doubled since last year. Demand and prices for WNBA are up. The lowest tier general admissions ticket for 2025 WNBA draft is $99 on Ticketmaster, while last year's similar was $49.99. According to the league, general admission tickets to Monday's draft are sold out. We move on to the WNBA, Tristan.
Hmm.
As we say goodbye to a DC legend. DC, she owes DC nothing.
Nope,
This woman. She owes
nothing at
DC
all.
nothing. DC owes her everything.
Absolutely.
According to ESPN, two-time WNBA MVP Elena Delle Donne has retired from the game of basketball, saying in an Instagram post that her body seemed to make this decision before my mind accepted it. I always thought you think of you with these retirement statements because you talk about the body and the mind a lot. Delle Donne was a WNBA title won a WNBA title with the Washington Mystics. Can I say the first one in 2019, but was hampered by multiple back surgeries and did not play in the league in 2024. One of my favorite children's books asked, "How did it get so late soon?" Delle Donne wrote in her post. I have asked myself that over and over again in the process of coming to the decision to retire from playing basketball. Being able to say that out loud was one of the hardest parts of my career. My body seemed to make this decision before my mind accepted it, but I now truly know this is the right thing for me at the right time. Drafted number 2 overall by the Chicago Sky in 2013 and pushed for a trade for the Mystics, and at that time, that was blockbuster. After the 2016 season, she won the 2019 title with Washington while playing with 3 herniated discs, Tristan.
Mm-hmm.
That year, she had the only 50, 40, 90 season in league history when she
Mm-hmm.
shot 51.5% from the field, 43% from behind the 3-point line, and 97.4% from the foul line. I have the need, Tristan, to kind of say that again. Played with 3 herniated discs. That year, she had the only 50, 40, 90 season in league history where she shot 51.5% from the field, 43% from behind the 3-point line, and 97.4% from the foul line. She put us over the top, former Mystics coach Mike Thibault told to the Associated Press. We were trying to build to where we could have a team that somebody like her would want to play with, and we could win the championship that she was seeking and that we were seeking. But Della Don didn't play in 2020 season, in the 2020 season in the COVID-19 bubble in Bradenton, Florida, and was limited to 3 games by back issue in 2021 before playing 25 games in 2022 and 23 games in 2023. She missed the 2024 season after deciding not to sign a 1-year Supermax offer from the Mystics. Thibault recounted the many hours Della Don spent in the gym trying to maintain her body while dealing with an assortment of injuries and Tristan, an illness of the Lyme disease. After her back surgery, she had a lot of days in the arena that started at 6 a.m. And when other players were done, she was still doing another treatment or massage or whatever it would take to be able to play. Della Don, 35, won the WNBA MVP award in 2015 and 2019, becoming the first player to receive the honor with 2 different teams. She was a 7-time All-Star and 4-time All-WNBA first-team selection over her 11 seasons. Won an Olympic gold medal with the USA basketball in 2016, averaged 19.5 points and 6.7 rebounds in 241 regular season games. She played in 40 postseason games where she averaged 17.9 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 2.3 assists. She retires as the league's career leader in free throw shooting at 93.7%. Came onto the scene in high school as one of the most sought after recruits in the country. She originally committed to UConn, Tristan, before deciding at the last minute to come home to play for Delaware to be closer to her sister. We know she's going through an illness as well. After she stepped away from basketball to play volleyball her first year at the school, she missed the sport too much and came back to play hoops. Sorry, volleyball. We need her in basketball. She helped Delaware reach unprecedented heights in her time there, carrying the Blue Hens to their first Sweet 16 and finishing with more than 3,000 points in her career. I had to read all of that, Tristan. Elena Della Don. DC owes her everything. We owe her nothing.
Put her jersey up. Retire her jersey. Retire her jersey. She like you said, she owes DC nothing. Having that championship was so awesome to see them win a
The
championship
first
here.
one. Y'all talking about the guys. Come on now. In the
Exactly.
city.
And I remember the hype around her coming out of Delaware, and how awesome she was. And she honestly, she lived up to the hype, even despite the injuries. She lived up to the hype and ended up becoming a champion. I was I was I remember when I saw the notification saying she was retiring. I was like, oh man, like yeah. But then I automatically flashed back to that season. I automatically flashed back to them being in the playoffs. I think I was still working in television at the time, so we were talking about it all the time. And what a time that was, because it was like you had them, you had the Caps, the Nationals. Like it was like, oh, this is what it feels like it was amazing. And
Jaden wasn't even born yet. I'm joking.
yeah, right. And she was incredible, especially in that and on that playoff run toward to the championship. and you just see her. I mean, it kind of gave me like Larry Bird type vibes when Larry Bird's back started getting to him, but he was still going out there and he just show you those flashes of, oh yeah, that's Larry Legend right there. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I felt with her, um, in that season because that back was really bothering her, but she muscled through it, she powered through it, and um, again, I would if I'm the Mystics, she automatically gets her jersey put up in the rafters. I don't care that the Mystics ain't drafted her. She still gets her jersey put in the rafters for sure.
Ugh, what a time to be alive. I got something that's going to make you cry, though. Guess
Okay,
what?
that's kind of hard.
In the past year, okay, we'll see. In the past
No,
year, Candace Parker, CP, Diana Taurasi, DT, and Elena Delle Donne have all said goodbye to the game of basketball.
okay, I ain't gonna cry, but I see what you were trying to do. Okay, yeah, I see what you did there. I see what you
Don't
did
tear.
there.
You,
Nah, ain't
the
no tears,
eyes not
but
gonna glimmer a little
nah,
bit.
nah, nah,
You
nah,
know,
nah, nah.
no, they're all
But
gone.
I saw someone made a graphic about that, and I was just like, dang, like I was watching all these women and they out of here. They just going
Out of
here,
here.
and I got now I got to fall in love with these new women in the W, which I do.
Yeah.
I love Angel Reese. I love Sabrina. Um, I love the name escapes me. Forgive me, but I love a couple of my Mystics girls. They doing their thing over there. I've always Skylar Diggins is still holding on because I remember Skylar Diggins in Notre Dame had the biggest crush on her. Love
Man,
Skylar
what?
Diggins.
She's
Um,
back. Y'all saw Unrivaled. She never
exactly,
left.
exactly. But it's good. It's good, to see these women get their flowers. I think that's really my thing. I think I know we talk about the Teresa Thompsons, we talk about the Cheryl Swoops, we talk about the Lisa Leslies, the Don Staleys of the world and all that. Um, but I think these women, the Dianas, the Maya Moores, the Candace Parkers, the Sue Birds, and these girls, these women, excuse me, they we get to see them really get their flowers all around, not just from people that watch the WNBA that are diehard fans, but even the casual fans, even NBA players. You see them give these women their flowers, and I love that they're around to see that full force. Like when Diana announced she retired, the not the WNBA, the basketball world paused.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was like, oh, Diana's retired. Like the basketball world
You're
paused.
not a woman's basketball player. You're a basketball
A
player.
basketball player. Like I saw so many NBA players on Twitter was like, oh, shout outs to the White Mamba, shout outs to the GOAT, did a great, awesome career. But like to see that was amazing. So I'm really glad that these women get the flowers they rightfully deserve.
Someone else that does not owe DC anything. And if we're playing off of superstitious, not that I care that much about the Eagles. You know what I'm saying? Last time they won a chip, so did we on the ice. Washington Capitals hosted the Great Eight City celebration. I don't know if you were aware of this today, Tristan.
Yep.
Today from 3 to 6 at the
Mhm.
Capital One Arena to honor Alex Ovechkin becoming the NHL's all-time leading scorer with 895 goals in them things. Originally, they planned it for Union Station, but the event, yeah, you didn't need to have it in Union Station. Oh, I miss Union Station. I can smell the pee and the pigeons
Oh
coming
my
in
God, Michaela.
already. Oh my God, I love you. I miss you. I'll see you soon. Anyways, and true Washingtonians understand what I just said. I know it was a little graphic, but true Washingtonians understand what I'm saying. I'm sitting having some coffee and a pigeon just flies in up and sits next to me. Anyways, the event was moved to accommodate more fans. Free and open to the public, the indoor celebration featured interactive stations, photo ops, giveaways, alumni appearances, and more. Highlights include skee ball, an inflatable shooting cage, a grade A pop-up shop, and commemorative items like Ovi Fat Heads. Damn, I want one. Buttons and greatness shirts. Ovechkin, along with Nicholas Backstrom, TJ Oshie, and owner Ted Leonis will be, well, they were in attendance, you know. Who else was in attendance? Wayne Gretzky went to every game this man played in until he broke his record. If that ain't
Had to,
respect, I don't know respect. I wish he
had
would have
to.
did it home. Shout out to the Island.
Yes.
Islanders, we
Shout out to the
appreciate
Islanders.
that.
Class C,
Class
class act by the
organization.
Islanders for sure.
We appreciate that. Hey, look, Bandsmaker dance, Tristan.
Hey man, shoulder the shoulder shimmy.
And we love Ovi. Speak to that.
Yes. Oh man, listen. Um, man, I be saying this phrase and I got to work on it, but because it makes me sound like I'm so old. But it's like I really love sports for real, and I really remember these moments. I remember when the Capitals drafted Ovi. I remember watching it because everyone made. And at that point, I wasn't. I'm not going to pretend like I was a big hockey fan. So I'm not going to act
No.
like that. I wasn't. But I just remember the hype. It was like that was watching. People probably going to think I'm crazy for saying this, but if they go back and look at how the conversations were, you're going to understand why I said it. That was watching the hype of LeBron coming to
Yeah.
Cleveland his rookie year. It was the
Yep.
same way. Everybody was talking about Alex Ovechkin because people were actually upset. People were actually upset at the fact that the Capitals had the number one pick because they knew they were getting that guy. Like that was the thing. So I remember when he got drafted. I remember when he had his first goal and had that slick dimmed visor and just with the black caps, black gold, blue jersey. Like I remember that, you know what I'm saying? And so um and I was working at NBC Sports. Shout out to them. Shout out to NBC Sports. I was working with them at the time when the
Hey,
when the
that's the only
when
job we had together.
exactly.
I
I remember.
tried
Um,
to shake his hand and say hi, I'm Mikkel. He wouldn't let me.
I'm, I'm sure. I'm sure because he's a little.
I'm
That's
talking
one thing I
about
heard about.
you.
No, me. Don't do that. Don't do that. Mikkel's the star, y'all. But the
I tried to. He showed up. We was working together. I tried to shake his hand and say, "Hey, I'm McKellen. Welcome to the team." He wouldn't even go with the story.
Mikkel is a star. Mikkel is a star. But the I remember at the time I was working there when people really started talking, the talk started coming about him possibly breaking the record, and to see it happen because I was watching it once he tied him, I said there was nothing keeping me from missing the next game. If he's playing, I'm watching it. So when he tied him, it was just like whoa, like this was one of the records that like this was you know the Undertaker's 20-year victory at WrestleMania before they botched it. This was Kareem Abdul Jabbar's scoring record. You know what I'm saying? Like this was um this was Dan Marino's touchdown record. Like this is one of them ones where you're just like ain't nobody reaching that number. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And now and the thing about it though, even when I mention all of those records, the the his scoring record and LeBron's scoring record are probably the two that will be the most unreachable. Why? Because they're still good.
Yeah.
Like he could still play. Like he's going to
He just
add
hit
to this.
another goal the other night.
Like this is we're on the verge of watching him get to 900. Like that's insane.
Yeah.
Insane. There's a chance that we could see LeBron hit 50,000 points. Like these are numbers that you would see if someone had a video game of these guys and they were playing it for like 10 years and never and saved everything. Like these are the moments that you would catch. So it's to watch that, to watch Ovi get that record whenever he feels like he could retire. I love to see players that came in with that kind of hype and accomplished everything they need to accomplish. Like the fact that he can leave knowing that he was an MVP, knowing that he's a champion, and now he's the all-time scorer in hockey. Like When he's ready to be done, when he's ready to call it a day, it's like, man, you came in with the hype and you lived up to, it's something about watching people live up to what they were supposed to become. Like when they drafted him, they said like this guy is going to get us a championship. This guy is he's going to be one of the greatest scorers ever. And now he's the greatest scorer ever in hockey history. It's amazing. And to see the great one pay homage to the great eight was so beautiful, so
Mm.
awesome. And I loved every minute of it. But I'm a huge Ovi fan. Like you said, bands that make a dance. We love the shimmy. We love we love
I would love to
championship.
see
Oh,
him sing that whole song.
absolutely, absolutely. We love championship Ovi when
Hey,
he was
3-6, where you
doing the
at?
tour. Right,
Oh,
right.
Ovi need to come on
They should have
stage.
had him for the ceremony today. But yeah, I was so happy to see it. And the fact that it happened, like, not that the record happened here in DC, but it's a homegrown DC legend.
Yeah,
Like, we drafted
start to
you, and
finish. Yeah.
like from beginning to here, like, you're homegrown here, bro. Like, yeah, it's incredible.
And he's dedicated to the city.
Oh yeah,
And
he loves the city.
it's going to make me think. And now we're in this conversation in DC. You just sparked the biggest thing in me. We're in this conversation in DC for
I know
that
where
to
you're about to
be a
go.
continuance.
I know where you're
Yeah,
about
we
to
could
go.
say it about Jaden Daniels. But if Terry McLaurin ever gets a chance to hoist an NFL title,
Yeah,
this is the guy that stood the test of time in the good and the bad.
sure.
Both these men stayed professional the entire time. You never saw
Yep.
them in the media bashing DC,
Talking
saying they
about
wanted
one
out.
trade.
Yeah,
Hmm.
they stayed the course.
Stay
We
the
don't
course.
effing suck. Terry smiled like a Kool-Aid all last year, and these are the images that you like to see in DC.
I definitely want to shout out this moment of that night of that day when he broke the record. The video clip of him and Beckstrom hugging in the locker room, that was a
Yeah.
tearjerker. Because if you watched hockey, you knew majority of those goals came from Beckstrom's assist. So for them to have that moment together to hug in the locker room, yeah, that was special. That was special.
Speaking as a Washingtonian, because we all know where our minds can fluctuate with the sports. I mean, let's be real. This is a football town, and the fact that football is
Yeah.
there again, the mind has went totally where it's at. We enjoy the Wizards, the Bullets. We love them
Do
when
we
they're
enjoy
good.
the Wizards? Oh,
I
okay.
mean,
I'd
hey,
say
look, John Wall, Bradley Beal,
they
Gortat.
won
That was a
six games.
fine
What, they
time
was
to be alive.
six
That was
games
a
this
fine.
season?
That was a fine time to be alive. We
Oh yeah, yeah.
forget them in the mist when we
The
don't
John
need
Wall
to
era.
know
Yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, and yeah,
and even me, like you just said, before the Boulevard became the Boulevard. But anyways, even me, the maturation of becoming a hockey fan.
hmm,
It's one thing to like somebody else's team, but to be able to do it in my own city and have a reverence to it. We talk about the Nationals, one chip, but
one chip.
baseball fans are now in the nation's capital. New age hockey fans love hockey now, but it's
Yeah,
because of Ovi.
yeah.
That's beautiful.
It is. It's. I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome to have a city that we can say, oh, we've seen champions, we've seen
Yeah.
legends here. Legends that are respected in the sport, not just legends because we call them legends, but legends in the sport, like an Alex Ovechkin, like a Terry
Yeah.
McLaurin. Whether he wins a chip, we hope he does. But whether he wins a chip or not, Terry McLaurin is going to be one that's considered a legend here. But he's going to also be considered a really great player. There's only a few. There's only a few receivers when you look at his numbers. It's only a few receivers in NFL history that's on the tear that he's on. So if it
And
keeps
he
up,
was on a bad team for a year with no quarterback. Could you imagine the 6 years
I'm
he
just
could have
saying.
had when he
I'm
had?
just saying. I'm just saying. So I mean,
I'm
it
picking up
it
what you're
just
throwing down.
exactly. So it's just it's something to behold to be able to say like you know we got some legit. people here, and not just the ones from the past, but like the ones we can currently see being great in the
We
nation's
skipped a
capital.
generation, Tristan. It's not just we remember who wore the jersey. Like when the Commanders were doing good, and we say this is for Pierre, this is for Santana, this is for Sean.
Exactly. There's a whole gap in between.
Sean would have been,
Oh yeah, it would
but
have been amazing. Yeah,
still now we got this generation got people be like, man, I remember when Commanders did something in 2000 something, and now these kids are gonna be 50 something saying it.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, going to basketball again. We're ping ponging here. I mean, did you care? We know Florida. We know Houston. Houston should have just shot the ball. You had the three in your hand. What are you doing? Game over. You upset Florida. Anyways,
Heartbreaking way to lose.
yeah. You got any thoughts about that? I mean, I speak for myself. I can't speak for you when I say I was paying attention to the women's bracket. Do we even? Not that I didn't care, but
No, no. When Duke lost, it kind of faded because I would have loved to seen Cooper Flag
yeah.
in the championship game.
Washington Wizards number one
And
pick.
and I think what killed it for me was how Duke lost.
Yeah.
It tainted the championship for me. I take nothing away from Florida. Congratulations. I take nothing away from Houston. You know, you were there. But the way that Duke lost, and I'm not saying this as a Duke fan. I'm just saying the way that Duke lost, and you know, Cooper Flag trying to get the last shot, and that foul call that shouldn't have been called on him. I thought it was crazy. So I just, you know, it just kind of tainted the championship game. So I didn't really care too much. Once I watched the women's championship game, I was pretty much checked out.
I
I'm not
love
even
when
going
we
to
can
lie.
have a reoccurring theme of staying within 95. Oh, you just keep me close to the home. Because there was a lot of drama in Maryland, Tristan. This don't
Oh,
look right. That was Derek Queen talking about his former coach in the Villanova jacket. His first post as one. According to the Baltimore Sun, I get to read something according to the Sun. Kevin Willard made an informal introduction to Villanova media. This was last week in a 30-minute viral news conference, and the former Maryland coach addressed the frustration among Terp fans about the way he departed the program. Normal fans just don't understand, he said, Tristan. What went on, Willard said. I had such a great team. I was so focused on my players. Being out west with my team for 12 days was such a great experience for me. We had so much fun out there. The timeline, no one knows it. No one understands it. I can't change that. And I'm not worried about it. The timeline is what left Terp fans frustrated. He left Maryland after an unusual NCAA tournament run that included a euphoric Sweet 16 appearance secured via a Derek Queen buzzer beater in the second round. But Maryland's march was sidetracked by Willard's reported flirtation with Villanova. During a March 20th tournament news conference, Willard all but made official the departure of the athletic director, Damon Evans, to SMU and complained about the Terps' lack of financial support. In a local radio interview on March 25th, Willard said he was staying with Maryland as of right now, which only added to speculation that he'd leave the team. When asked about Villanova after the team's loss to Florida, Willard suggested he was fully focused on the Terps and hadn't talked to his wife or agent about taking a different job. The Baltimore Sun reported the same night, however, that a prominent Maryland donor was informed Willard was likely leaving for Villanova. 3 days after the Terps lost to Florida, that was on a Sunday, Willard was officially announced as Villanova's coach. Buzz Williams was named Maryland's new coach that Tuesday. I think some of my comments during the NC tournament probably could have been a little bit less abrasive, you think? But unfortunately, sometimes when my passion for my program, my passion for my players comes out, I get a little excited. Willard's excitement about Villanova's financial standing as a Big East program was evident. Revenue sharing is coming to college sports on July 1st, pending final approval of the House versus NCAA settlement. In that new world, universities will have a maximum of 20.5 million to share annually with their players. For a Big Ten school like Maryland, the majority of the money is expected to be used to fund a 105 player football roster. For a school like Villanova with a football championship subdivision football title with a football championship subdivision football team that doesn't take financial priority over sports, more money can be allocated to men's basketball players. Fast forward to the fact that Derek Queen entered the draft. Tristan, Maryland. This didn't land right, did it? Because what the hell? Not the sign. Oh God.
I just feel for the players, man. I don't like when people trash the players for doing this whole transfer portal stuff, and then but coaches can up and do this. You lost in a heartbreaking way when people try to, and I understand it. Like, what did you want him to do? You put him in a bad situation. Like, you wanted him to talk about it while he was still in the tournament. You wanted him to talk about it while he was still trying to deal with his players at the time. But it's like, come on, man. Like, you weren't even there long enough to even like be like, you know what, I understand why you would leave. Like, you weren't there long enough for that. You know what I'm saying? You went for because you knew the resources. You knew the resources was going to be better in Villanova rather than Maryland. And that's just really what it is. Maryland hasn't,
Yeah.
for whatever reason, just has not, it ain't Gary Williams teams. Let's put it like that.
No.
So it's just, for I hated it for the players.
Yeah.
But it really goes to show you how big recruiting is. And um Maryland has to get on the ball. And you got homegrown talent here in the DMV that are going to these other schools to play.
Hey,
So
45 minutes up the road, Derek Queen decided to come down.
I'm just saying, like, it's I don't know, I feel for them, but Maryland's definitely going to have to strategize and figure out something. They got to figure out what they're going to do to get to make Maryland used to be one of the
We were
attractive
talking about the
programs.
Ron Dixon era. This is the first time we've seen, you know.
Like, this used to be one of the destinations for college basketball to come to. So I mean, I don't know what it would take for that to get back into that kind of prominence again. I'm not sure.
We move to college football because this is the time I give you your time a little bit.
Sure.
Is the criticism warranted? Shador put on a show, or at least tried to put on a show. A lot of people saying it's too much criticism. Some people saying it's warranted. How do you feel about his pro day?
He was great.
Yeah.
He was great. Did so For you all that are not aware, I also do another show called Just a Fan Podcast where we strictly talk about football. We talk about the NFL specifically, but I do chime in about college football, especially being so close to the draft. One of the things that I pay attention to exclusively are the quarterbacks. Okay, I pay attention to quarterbacks a lot. That's why Mikkel's got the smile on her face because she knows I'm pretty accurate when I say
Yes.
certain things about certain
Tristan's
players.
always right, man.
So I'm not always, but I'm more right than wrong.
Oh,
I am
you
more
know
right than wrong.
everything. You're like MacGyver. You're like MacGyver.
So I appreciate you, but um, it's not so much the arm I was paying attention to because a lot of people are like, "Oh, he doesn't, he patched the ball. Oh, he doesn't have a lot of pop on his arm. Doesn't have a lot of juice." Listen, this is a guy that threw 40 touchdown passes. This is a guy that threw over 4,000 yards. And when you watch him, the one of the big things for me is his feet. It was almost perfect. 3-step drop,
Mm-hmm.
5-step drop, 2 steps and going to the right, 2 3 steps going to his left. It was almost perfect. Point the toe points into the direction that he wants the ball to go. There's no hesitation. There's no extra hitches. It was almost flawless, and that's what you need. This is what I've This is my issue, and I've said this I think I've said this on that show, and I'm gonna say it here as well.
Okay.
Here's the thing that people have an issue with when it comes to Shador Sanders. Shador Sanders is not the quarterback that we have been spoiled watching for the past decade.
Mm.
He's not. He's not Lamar. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not Josh Allen. He's not he's not even Joe Burrow. He's not Cam Newton. He's not Marcus Mariota. He's not Jaden Daniels. What he is the prototypical, and I'm talking about just as far as how he plays the position. He is the prototypical throwback QB. You put him in a system, you put the tools around him, and he's going to win you a lot of games and possibly win you a championship. I'm not saying it has to be perfect for him because we've seen him operate in chaos. So he's more than capable to lift his team. The team don't got to be perfect, but he's not going to wow you with a bazooka arm. He's not going to wow you with this crazy athletic speed. But what he does have is good feet for playing the position, and he has a very good brain that processes information very well, where he can anticipate throws, he can read pre coverages and all that. He is the ideal fit if you have a team that's ready to go, or you have a team that's on the cusp of being ready to go, and you plug him in, it's going to do wonders for you. He's that talent, but he's just not the talent that we see where we see a guy throw a football through a wall or can run just as fast as a receiver or running back. He's not that, but we've been so spoiled by that. That's why Cam Ward and Cam Ward had a great pro day, but that's why people are so enamored with Cam Ward because you see some of the physical gifts that make you say, "Oh wow." Even Jackson Dart out of Ole Miss. I wouldn't put him over Shador, but some people do because they look at his athleticism and say, "Oh wow, you're not getting that from Shador." Boys, you just look at him saying, "Can you play the quarterback position?" There's
Yeah.
probably nobody in the draft more pro ready to play quarterback than Shador Sanders on the football field and off.
Sometimes it's just that simple. Do you think, and I hate to say this because I don't want to make this racial. Because anybody else, we're used to Lamar being humble. When sometimes we just want his ass to say, "Yeah, I am him." And Shador's overconfidence has ruffled a lot of feathers. When anybody else could have come in the league, it probably would have been overlooked as, "Yeah, that's him." Joe Burrow's so cool. Joe Burrow does this, and then he has the mouth to back it up. Do you feel his overconfidence has been unwarrantedly tainted by the media, by others?
Who doesn't want a franchise quarterback that's confident about his game? Show me. Who doesn't want a quarterback that is confident, borderline arrogant about his game? The quarterback position. The guy that I got to listen to in the huddle. If I'm an offensive lineman, the guy I got to block for, put my body on the line to make sure he clean. The receiver, the one I got to catch the ball from. I got to run these routes, gas myself out to get open, and hopefully he's giving me a catchable ball. The running back who I got to put my body on line to pick up pass rushers and pass protection and blow them up just so he don't get blown up and make sure that I get my touches from him. Why wouldn't I want my quarterback to be like that? I want my quarterback to come in, "Hey, bro, hey, look, hey, I know we down 2 scores, but hey, we got time, we got this. Don't worry about it. Let's go."
Yeah.
I want my quarterback to say, "Hey, just give me 3 seconds. Give me 2.7 seconds. I got you. Don't worry about it. I got it." I want that. He built for that. He built for it. It's never going to be a light that's too bright for Shador Sanders. It will never be too bright for him. Who
And
don't want
damn
that?
sure it ain't gonna be. It ain't damn sure ain't gonna be that way if I'm coming from a Dion program.
No, no. He ain't never. Listen, if I'm the Giants, that's what I want. That's the perfect person for the New York Giants.
Yeah.
Not only for on the field, but I'm talking about off the field, especially after the catastrophe they had, or with the Derek Carr situation that happened today. If I'm the Saints, I pray that he's still on the board when they get to me. If I'm the Saints, if I'm the Steelers, hoping because I need a face. I need a guy that the fans can say, "We got him. We got a shot." Need that. So
There's
yeah.
not much there. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, no. I'm just saying, like on the field, throwback quarterback, but he's gonna win you a lot of games. And if you catch him out, if you catch him right, he might win you a Super Bowl or two
I love when
because
these
of what
big
he could do.
personalities like love to go to these big cities. Oh man,
Yeah,
I want to see him in this New York media. This is gonna be hot
but you,
fire.
but I mean, but think about it. Think about it. Who better?
Yeah.
Let's really dissect some of this. Who better to put in that position, right? You just let Saquon Barkley walk out the door for Daniel Jones, who's no longer on your roster. The man went and almost broke the single season rushing record, then went on to win the Super Bowl on your watch in your division, right? So now you're coming into a season that the only people, no disrespect to these guys, but the quarterbacks to represent you are Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson. And you know those are short term situations. You know those are short term solutions. Who better to try to repair the image of the New York Football Giants than Shador Sanders? His charm, the smile, the swagger in the New York media. Come on, who better? Who better suited? Even when it gets bad, when it gets bad and they're struggling, who do you want better than Shador Sanders at the podium talking out of this class? Who do you want better? If you go to the Saints, you haven't had a legitimate face since Drew Brees retired. Who better?
Yeah.
Who better? Country boy in Louisiana, New Orleans, the quarterback. Who better? If you're the Steelers, you haven't had a legitimate face since Big Ben. You thought Kenny Pickett, you thought getting a hometown kid Kenny Pickett turned out that was a fail. Who better? He's a program lifter. What was Jackson State doing before Shador got there?
Mm.
What was Colorado doing before Shador got there? It wasn't just his pops. He still had to perform on the field. We know who Deion Sanders is as a coach and as a personality, as a figure, an icon. But his son still had to go out there and perform. Shador went to a legitimate D1 program, Colorado D1 program. Before he stepped foot on the campus, his father already made him the starting QB.
Mm.
Pressure. And he went in with a smile and was almost in the Heisman conversation. And probably would have been had he had a better offensive line.
Yeah.
Come on. Who better? So all this you're nitpicking at him. You're nitpick when you nitpicking at someone and their game like that, when you're trying to nitpick, that's because you know face value, he's the best person overall, franchise quarterback. He's the best one. He's the most ready out of this draft class. Yes, Cam Ward is not taking nothing from Cam Ward. Cam Ward, I think, is going to be good. Cam Ward's got a lot of tools. He's got a lot of gifts. I think he'll be fine. But if I am one of those franchises that need a figure that can also play football, because it's about winning. So I need you to be able to win, but I also need you to be a figure in front of these fans and in front of these reporters and in front of these cameras. Ain't nobody better than Shador in this class. Not one person.
Not a lot of NFL news. Lamar going back with Dale Earnhardt Jr. over the number 8. We'll get to that when we figure out what they're doing.
Well,
Julio Jones did retire.
yeah, I do. I want to mention about
Joe,
Julio Jones. Shout out to him, first ballot Hall of Famer.
Joe Flacco's a Brown.
Joe Flacco going back to the Browns, which
How sick are you of the Browns?
I'm sick of the Browns for their fans because I'm just like, what more do they gotta do? And I gotta laugh. I gotta laugh because it's funny. Because I'm watching this video of Deshaun Watson talking
Hmm.
about people think I can't get back to where I am. I'm gonna be as good as that. Bro, it's not your injury that people talking about, brother.
No,
It's
it's
not
you
your injury, brother.
personally.
It's you
You
personally, bro. You have to understand what the Cleveland Browns did by giving you the contract that you got when you first got over there after all of the craziness off the field. And the least you could have done was show some semblance of who you were in Houston. And you haven't shown them one time.
I mean, you gave the only formula you've given is how to do what you did that's wrong to the kicker.
That's it.
Shout out to not shout out to Justin Tucker.
No,
Okay,
not shout out to Justin Tucker.
I can't
But
believe it. Bar for bar, word for
bar
word.
for word for word. You know what I'm saying? Took his whole flow. But it's like, I don't understand how the Browns and then the fact that the owners admitted it like a week prior was like, yeah, the Deshaun Watson was a colossal fail. What? You're the ownership. We know, but you ain't supposed to say it. We know. We know, but you ain't supposed to say it, brother. Oh man, I don't know what to say. I don't know I don't know what the I feel for Browns fans, man. I do. I do. And
Six
because we
months,
were
and
there,
Al
Washington was
Michaels will be
there.
playing Sunday Night Football. Okay.
Listen, I so for them to not draft, for them to re-sign Joe Flacco, it makes me wonder what they're going to do about the quarterback position moving forward. Because in my mind, I don't think they're in the running for um Shador because I do believe Tennessee is going to take Cam, so I don't believe that they're going for Shador because you're not signing Joe Flacco if you're doing that. So
Hey, Kirk Cousins is, Kirk Cousins still floating. Aaron Rodgers' ass is still floating. You know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so
So
hey, sh-
hey, go ahead, Mikael.
no, I ain't got nothing.
It's just interesting. It's just interesting to see this whole thing unfold with Deshaun Watson. Like it's going to be a 30 for 30. Like when you see some people careers go a certain way, you're like you're going to be a 30 for 30, my guy. Like you are. So
You
it's
already gave Joel Embiid one 2 weeks
oh
ago.
absolutely, absolutely, oh absolutely. I wish I was
Not
a
a 30
writer.
for 30 about a
Oh
failure.
absolutely, oh absolutely,
The
absolutely.
Orlando Magic, that was hard to watch.
Listen, you have to talk about. Listen, I wish I was a writer at ESPN because I would have already started the 30 for 30 for Joel Embiid. I would have already started. Like, what are we talking about here? Uh, but yeah, I don't. The Browns, and honestly, the Saints are in the same boat with this news that came today about Derek Carr and his shoulder. He's debating if he has to take season-ending surgery on the shoulder. Like, bro, what did you do? You ain't played in months. What did you do to it?
Yeah.
So it's just like that's
Out there
crazy.
playing golf and come
That's
on.
crazy. And so the Saints are now in that boat where it's like, oh my
That's a good
God,
ass team too. I know a lot of y'all looking at the
but they
product, but
old,
that's a good team.
but
They
they're
old.
old. And now you don't know what you're doing at the quarterback position because Derek Carr basically waited till now to say, hey, my shoulder ain't good. So all the possibility moves you could have made as far as getting a veteran is gone.
Mm.
So I don't I don't understand. I don't understand what the Saints are going to do. That's why I mentioned Shador Sanders because I'm like, there's a possibility that Shador could be a New Orleans Saint because of what just happened with Derek Carr.
Oh
So
my gosh.
he ain't
Shout
lying.
out to Shannon Sharp.
He ain't lying.
Shout
Shout out to Unc. He ain't
out
lying.
to
So
Video and
um,
all. Shout out to
oh Lord, y'all leave that man alone. Leave that man
Hey,
alone.
I ain't mad at him.
I'm sure you weren't. I'm sure you weren't mad.
Hey, hey. There's a lot of things that I don't be mad at. I ain't mad at that. I I hate the Celtics, but Paul Pierce just enjoying his time off on his day off. Okay. Why y'all had to fire that man? I don't understand ESPN. Some people like to go to the beach on a day off or have a
Uh
cup of
huh.
coffee. He
Uh huh.
he likes strippers and weed. That's his
Sure.
business.
Sure.
What's your problem?
Sure.
Hey, I I look and don't judge. Okay. Anywho, we move on to the end. Oh, shout out to the Bears and shout out to the Louvre. Okay, y'all lucky we ain't put that. We lucky you lucky we ain't put that Hail Mary on the monument.
I can't.
Anyways,
I can't.
we go to the NBA. There's some news last week, but I gotta start off with the biggest news of last week. And typically I got a lot to say that I got because I write down, I prepare a show, and I'm able as I get a drink of water. I'm able to every now and again just talk off the top of my dome, okay? And that's
Hmm.
what the hell I'm gonna do. Tristan, I'm going off on a tangent, okay?
Ooh.
Carmelo Anthony, first ballot Hall of Famer,
Oh, I
okay?
knew you. I knew. Okay, yeah. I'm
Now,
gonna let you have your time. This is
back
your time.
way back when, I love Melo. If Kobe's the left side of my heart, Carmelo's the right side of my heart. Put in a little bit of Allen Iverson, and that's how you make Mikel, okay? And even with Portland, when you suckers out there were calling him washed, and look what he was able to come back and do, and he should retire. He don't know how to come off the bench. If Carmelo Anthony was out there protesting, I was on the front lines with him and for him, okay, baby? Carmelo Anthony is a first ballot Hall of Famer. The best things in my career have come at the hands of meeting and being around this man. I was able to deliver to him at the Hilton in Baltimore. Hey, Mello, I'm 21 years old. I want to be in the business. This is what I want to do. It's amazing to meet you. He said, great. I gave him his eggs. I moved the hell on. Then, a couple years later, when I actually started working in the business, the hometown hero from New York came down to the arena in Baltimore and played in the Charm City Classic because if you know anything, the Bullets, the Washington Bullets, used to be the Baltimore Bullets, but that's another story. I went up to Mel. I said, hey, I delivered room service to you, and I told you what I wanted to be. I'm here. I don't give a damn if he told me it was a lie. It was probably a lie. He didn't remember me. But that was the first athlete I've ever held a microphone to. Okay. Then he came back. He did the TBT tournament. They named a park after him. I was there again. Everything that has been triumphant in my career has been at the hands of standing next to that man, Melo. Hey, look, I'm fighting for you, baby. And you're a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's a unique blend of being big, strong, athletic, while also having a world class shooting touch and a natural ability to get to the rim. That was Paul Pierce via the Players Tribune on Carmelo Anthony. Tristan, we know a guy who kind of said the same thing. His name was Kobe Bryant. In 2015, Paul Pierce listed him as one of the toughest players he'd ever played against. If I had to single out one guy out who is the most difficult player to guard in the league, it would have to be Carmelo. That's what sets him apart. Every facet of his game is elite. Some great players will have one or two particular skills that make them special, but Carmelo can do everything, which puts you in a bad situation as a defender. A lot of guys might shoot better from certain areas, so you try to force them elsewhere on the floor. Carmelo doesn't have a spot on the floor where he can't consistently hit shots. In my opinion, his combination of physicality and shooting touch is unmatched in the NBA. You can't take 1 second off when you're matched up against him. Kobe is one of the best scorers in NBA history, but I don't have as much trouble with him, really, Paul, in the past as I do with Carmelo. LeBron is a great post up player, but if you get him to settle for the jumper on some nights, okay, this was honest. You might be able to slow him down if his shot is off. That's not the case with Melo. If you give him space to shoot, he'll make it many more times than he misses. To put in it plainly, he's not a fun assignment on defense. Three-time Olympic champion. An Olympic Melo ain't is whole different than States Melo. 2003 NCAA champion. Shout out to the Orange. Shout out to Syracuse. He was a freshman. 10-time NBA All-Star, 2-time All-NBA second team, 4-time All-NBA third team. He needed a first. 2013 NBA scoring champ. Shout out to New York because you needed to do a little bit better when you had him. Retired by Syracuse, NBA 75th anniversary team. Tristan. I could keep going, okay, but I'm not. Your thoughts on Carmelo Anthony? First ballot.
Listen, I muted myself just to give you the time. I said, "Oh yeah, let me let you have your moment because I know how you feel about Melo." But listen. With that being
I
said,
thought you on Melo.
I about to say with that being said, we've had many battles when it came to Carmelo Anthony because you will stand on this hill forever about him. With
Right,
that
y'all.
being said, with that being said, he absolutely absolutely deserves to be a first ballot Hall of Famer without any question. And if he was to not get in the Hall of Fame this year, I'd have thought they were smoking crack. It's the same way I felt about it's the same way I felt about Dwight Howard not being in the top 75. I thought they were nuts. I'm just as happy for Dwight as I am for Carmelo. Melo Anthony is one of the greatest scorers of the basketball we've ever seen. He had no weaknesses when it came to scoring the basketball. No weaknesses. Had one of the prettiest jumpers, can hit the three, could bully ball you in the post, finish with either hand. There was nothing you could do with Melo. Melo is what you call country strong, and the man wasn't even from the deep south. He was just a strong bull that could finish at the rim, would do whatever he wanted to do when he wanted to do it. And the only reason that Melo doesn't have more accolades that he should is because when they blew that team up that he took to the finals back in '09, when they got rid of Kmart and J.R. Smith and didn't re-sign Chauncey Billups and all them boys, and you left him with scraps, and then he went to the Knicks, and then they did the same thing to him on the Knicks squad
And then he
and
went
left
to
him with
Houston.
scraps. Went to
Career
Houston, did the same.
suicide.
Yes, so that's the only reason that Melo does not have the career that D Wade and LeBron should have. And he should have had it because he was the one that was supposed to go to Miami, not Chris Bosh.
I was going to ask
So,
you how you felt about that, but thank you.
so for him to get this, for him to have the Olympic career he's arguably probably the greatest Olympian for the NBA, just as statistic wise and accomplishments. So, and then for let's not forget, won a national championship his freshman year at Syracuse. So
That man got buildings that named after him up there.
yeah, so yeah, Carmelo is an all-time great. And for real, his career should have lasted longer, but the NBA wanted to go to this three-point shot foolishness and not let him play basketball the way it was supposed to be played, the right way, to let him have a longer career.
I thought Portland fumbled him. I thought that team, I didn't see nothing wrong with that team. I don't know what happened.
Because they wanted to do the outside scoring, and his game demands half court because
Yeah.
he dominates the ball. But you got to let Melo, what we say, you let Melo be Melo. Don't
Yes.
try to change him. Let Melo be Melo,
He
and he gonna
spoke
give
about
you.
that. If you didn't see that
I
that
saw. I
interview
know.
about
I know
Houston,
exactly.
yeah,
Know exactly what you're talking about. Like, let him be him. He gonna give you a cool 30, 40 points. Like,
not
let him
cool.
be him. because it's Melo. It'd be so chill. Like it don't be nothing. Like he literally, you just watch him play. You can literally prime. Young Melo was reckless, and reckless. When I mean reckless, I mean in a good way. Like if he dunked the ball or whatever, like it was like thunder. Like you knew Melo was coming. But as he matured in his game, you would literally watch Melo the entire game. He'd be like, "Oh, cool, cool, they won." Then you look at Melo's stat line, 42, 8, and you're like, "Wait, whoa, when?" Because he was just so smooth like that. So yeah, I mean, Melo's awesome. And we've had, like I said, we've had our battles with a couple things with Carmelo, but I'm not going to be one to be here like Melo was basic or whatever. Like Melo is an all time great.
Does the ring matter? And this is the conversation where we talk about it. We talk about with Allen Iverson a lot. You know, a lot of people put Charles Barkley in that position. But does the ring matter? Can you
Yeah.
have legends that did not have it and
Oh
still
yeah.
respect them enough? But does
Yeah.
it matter in
Yes.
solidifying a little more?
Yes. Both questions are yes. Because he's still a legend, even with him not having a ring. He's still a legend. He's still top 75
Yeah.
all time. Like he's still a great. So absolutely. But what makes the ring matter is because Melo should be talked about the way D Wade and LeBron are talked about.
Yeah.
I'm talking about as far as that draft class. Melo needs to be talked about the same way they are. And all he would have needed was one championship. All he would have needed was one to
Yeah.
get him in that kind of conversation because that's how great he was as a player.
He wants a stake in the Wizards, Tristan. How you feel?
Why not?
And he's
Somebody they
he's been a big advocate for trying to get Kevin Durant to come home.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
He ain't coming. Unless it's a Commanders game, he come. But
Which I don't understand that either because I mean you look at Phoenix, I mean you might as
why
well.
not at this point, right?
Might as well. But yeah, Carmelo, yeah, shout outs to Melo, man. I'm so glad. And shout outs to Dwight Howard. Again, I gotta say that. Like shout outs to Dwight Howard. Shout outs to Dwight Howard and Shaq reconciling. That's awesome.
He's
Because
gonna call. He's gonna bring him on the stage.
he wants to bring him on stage. So I saw some I thought it was I thought it was fake news, but I kept seeing it pop up. I'm like, oh, so they really did reconcile. So that's awesome. And he should have been in the top 75. It doesn't make sense Dwight was not in that.
Yeah. Some other news, Tristan. Well, before I get to this one, now this made you cry. Luka's trip back to Dallas in the video.
Nah, it ain't make me cry.
Oh, shut up.
It ain't make me cry. But I felt it for him though.
Yeah.
I
He
felt it
didn't
for
want
him.
to leave. You knew he
Because it
was
was so dirty, bro. It was just so classless how they did that, yo. You
yeah.
just do this trade in the middle of the season after the man literally led you to the finals. You ain't sniffed it since Dirk. Like, come on. And then you're gonna say we couldn't deal with his attitude. We couldn't deal with his weight, his nutrition. What? What? What are you talking about? What are you
And
talking
Anthony
about?
Edwards said, "What? He's still giving you 40 almost a night,
What are you talking
and
about?
you worried about practice?"
Why? Because he ain't chiseled? Because he looked like a regular dude on the street? He dropping
Plus, he's
40.
Slovenian. He's Slovenian. They don't it. Come on.
Look at Jokic. Jokic don't look like no swimwear model, but he
No.
dropped 60, 10, and 10. Like what are we talking about? So yeah, so I felt it for Luka. And man, I wanted him to go for 60, but I'd take the 45. I
Yeah.
wanted him to crush him. And not because of the team, because clearly his former teammates love him. Clearly Dallas loves him. You heard it in the
Yeah.
stadium talking about fire Nico. Like
That was an
clearly,
internal issue. That was an internal issue.
man, you crazy.
Let me
And
bounce
anyhow,
back.
go ahead, go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No, no,
No, no,
no.
no, go.
Please.
No, 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 you good,
No,
you good, go.
I was gonna bounce back. Speaking of
Yeah,
Jokic, there
yeah,
was this big thing online of whose jersey you're retiring, Melo's or
yeah.
Jokic. And I get it. It's what have you done for me lately? And the Joker because we're gonna bounce back to Denver in a minute.
Well,
But
I'm about to say,
Joker,
let me save my
Joker,
energy for
Joker
Denver.
has done his thing, but
Yeah,
Denver was in obscurity before Carmelo Anthony came there.
absolutely, absolutely,
Obscurity. We wasn't talking about
absolutely,
Denver no more.
absolutely,
Come on, I get it, but no. Um,
absolutely.
Speaking of internal, and we always talk, and the last time we talked about this was with the Luka trade, and the beautiful, the great L'Oreal said that it was in the hands of the owners to try to put these decisions back in their hands.
Yes,
After LeBron and doing what he want to do, and now these players are maneuvering what they want to do. We got another prime example of it, but this hasn't sat pretty with a lot of people. This takes me to the mile high, Tristan. According to CBS Sports, the Denver Nuggets have fired head coach Michael Malone and general manager Calvin Booth. Team announced this was Tuesday. It's a pair of shocking dismissals in the final week of the NBA regular season. Like, you did this at the end. Malone led the Nuggets to an NBA championship in 2023, less than 2 years ago. Denver lost in the second round of the playoffs in 2024, and the team 47-32 could finish anywhere from as high as third in the Western Conference to as low as the eighth seed in the standings this season. Malone, who was about to complete his 10th season with the franchise, is the winningest coach in Nuggets history and had made the postseason six consecutive times. Malone, until this week, was the only head coach three-time NBA Nikola Jokic has played for in his 10-year career. Assistant coach David Edelman is taking over. I say David Edelman's name for Sacramento. Like, anyways, is taking over as interim head coach. This decision, Tristan, was not made lightly and was evaluated very carefully. And we do it only with the intention of giving our group the best chance at competing for the 2025 NBA championship and delivering out another title to Denver and our fans elsewhere. While the timing of this decision is unfortunate, as Coach Malone helped build the foundation of our now championship level program, it is a
understand it.
necessary step to allow us to compete at the highest level right now. That was team owner Josh Kroenke. There's been reported tension behind the scenes with the Nuggets regarding a power struggle between Malone and Booth. And prior to the announcement that Booth was also heading out the door, it could be explained that ownership sided with the front office. However, the Nuggets ousted both, deciding that starting fresh was the best path forward. You could argue that the Nuggets have underperformed this season, given they've got the best player on the planet suiting up for them on a nightly basis in Jokic. Since the All-Star break, Denver has gone 11-13, while Jokic has done practically everything, Tristan, he can to will the team to win in several occasions. It hasn't been enough. Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon have dealt with injuries, which have certainly factored into Denver's waxing and waning, but that clearly didn't weigh enough into Denver's decision to fire Malone. This reminds me a lot about Phil Jackson and how Jerry he wasn't feeling the power and the respect that Phil Jackson was getting. And you go ahead and you tell Michael Jordan, I'm getting rid of Phil Jackson. And Michael Jordan said, if Phil ain't here, I ain't here. So you better figure out something. The players have issues with Malone. Paul Pierce is online talking about how these players are soft. Malone's talking about how they don't even want to listen to film. It's a lot going on in Denver, Tristan. You fire your coach before the playoffs. Damn.
You are literally the fourth seed. You are the fourth seed going into the playoffs. You fire your coach for what? Because your egos can't fit. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Because your egos can't fit. What are we? You're fourth. You potentially could have been third going in to the playoffs, and then you're talking about we this was carefully calculated, doing the best interest for your team to win the championship this year. Y'all not winning no championship. You'd be lucky if you get out the first round. What are you talking about? This was such an impulse move if I've ever seen one. And it made no sense. You already got Jokic just having one of his better years, and his team ain't good. You're lucky that you had Jokic.
Yeah.
You're lucky because you wouldn't be playing in the playoffs if Jokic was not on your team. So you
Mm,
do that. So you do this to all having all these distractions now. People trying to figure out how this interim coach is going to do. What's his methodology? Is he going to keep the same things that he had that the coach had prior? Because you gotta give these players some kind of continuity. Like, what are we talking about here? What are we
mm.
talking about? That's
And then
it
you
was
try to
crazy.
justify it.
I
Ugh.
thought it was a joke when I saw the notification. I thought it was a joke, and then I kept seeing people talking about it. I'm like, oh, this is real. It's insane. This was one of the craziest. I thought what Dallas did was crazy. Was still crazy, but this was crazy as well, for sure. And if I'm Nikola Jokic, if the season goes up in flames in the playoffs because of this, if I'm Nikola Jokic, I'm like, hey man, listen, y'all need to tell me a concrete plan going for next year. If not, I want out of here. I already
Yeah.
got my MVPs. I already got my championship ring. I want out of here.
That's like taking Greg Popovich away from Tim Duncan. This man been with him his whole career.
That I just don't understand the logic in this situation for this to happen in this moment when the West is really wide open because ain't like OKC got the number one seed in a chokehold for real. So I just don't understand. Ain't no way y'all not winning no title. So I don't even know why he said that in his statement. You're not winning no championship this year. So I don't even
We
know
might
why that
not
was
see one of them for a while.
for a while. I don't know what this was, but it's
Just
just
call it. I would have respected more if he called it a rebuild and just said Jokic was gone.
it just
I mean, you might as well.
it just plays into the dysfunction
Oh,
of the Nuggets. Yeah, little baby girl. It just plays into the dysfunction of the Nuggets. That's really what it is. Like that, y'all are going to waste an all-time great big in Nikola Jokic by some of these moves you're doing. And thank God y'all just so happened to get a championship out of this because if you didn't, this would have been a horrible,
another 30 for 30.
possibly to have a player like Jokic and not have a title. Like, be fortunate that you won one. If this is how you're operating business,
Side note: her behind you, and I hear her little voice. It's just like Brainy behind Helga. All I
yeah,
heard was her breathing behind you.
yeah, she
Hey,
can't help it. She likes to see what I'm doing.
I'm gonna put this into your brain, Tristan.
Sure.
Championships weren't good enough to save these coaches. After winning it all, sooner or later they were let go. Number one, Frank Vogel. He was the Lakers head coach. 2020 NBA champions. He was clipped in 2022. Number
Hmm.
two, Mike Budenholzer. Milwaukee Bucks head coach, 2021 NBA champions. He was clipped in 2023. Michael Malone, three, Denver Nuggets, 2023 NBA champions. He was clipped 2025.
Hmm.
Steve Kerr is the only coach from 2020 to 2023 who hasn't been clipped within 2 years of winning a championship.
Yeah, yeah. Owners need to stop thinking that coaching doesn't matter with these championships. They're thing. I understand that the league is basically a player run league. I get that. Adam Silver tries to, keep it together, but it's really run by the players. I get it.
Yeah.
Coaching matters. Coaching
Yeah.
matters. Continuity matters. And all these teams that you just mentioned that did all these things were are trying to thinking they could strike, lightning in a bottle with a different conductor and
No.
proved to be incorrect. So
Mike Malone made Gordon go from a dunker to a star to a
yeah,
complete player. Look at
yeah.
Jamal Murray. Come on, you gotta think of this.
Like Malone can coach. And you might not agree with some of the methodology, you might not agree with some of the thought process of, but the man can coach. For the Nuggets to do this, and I just don't understand. I don't understand the timing. I don't understand the reasoning. I don't understand none of it. I don't.
And when he speaks, it's kind of very Popovich esque. You listen, like when he's even about current event stuff. When you listen, you really do listen. All right, Tristan. Ja Morant was hit with $75,000 fine after seemingly doing a finger gun gesture during a game on Thursday night, according to a press release from.
I was
Well, this
hoping
was
we had
last
talk
Thursday
about.
night. According to a press release from the NBA, Morant was fined for making an inappropriate gesture on the playing court for the second time that week, adding that he was previously warned by the league office that his gesture could be interpreted in a negative light. The
Sure.
first interaction caused the league to issue a warning after both Morant and Golden State's Buddy Hield made the gesture at one another during a game last week. This is not Ja's first time finding himself in hot water with the league, though. As previously reported, the Grizzlies superstar was suspended twice in 2023. The first time Ja was banned for 8 games for displaying a firearm on a live stream at a Denver area nightclub. The other was a 25-game ban after he posed with a firearm in a car in another live stream. Recently, he started initiating tossing a grenade as his new celebration covering is. I kind of like it. I ain't gonna hold you. And in some cases, has been covered his ears. That's my celebration now until somebody else has a problem with it. I'll find another one. Listen, it's not what you think it is. I'm speaking Ja. I'm being Ja. I'm going to take my words, I'm going to throw them out there, and then I'm going to black out the noise. At this point, he got Boosie speaking up for him. Why is it that every time Ja does something, of course it's by reputation, he gets called out? But if he's not promoting this and he needs it, it's just a celebration. Like the grenade's kind of cool and doing this, you know what I'm saying? It's like this. Wait, hold on. It's like this. So I mean, at this point, we don't know Ja how we think we know Ja. Okay, be you, Ja. But it's also troubling. Like, what the hell is going on with you? How many times you gonna get fined? How many times you gonna let them allow you to even think they gonna find you? What can we say?
Um, Ja gotta grow up.
Yeah,
I don't
I
know what
always
it's
say
going to take
Anthony Edwards is what we expected Ja to be,
Ja to
but
be. I don't know what it's going to take, but Ja, you gotta just grow up, man. Just deal, man. Like you in the NBA, bro. We want to talk about you playing basketball. There's people that are forgetting how good of a basketball player you are because of your antics, bro. And that's criminal because you're one of the better athletes in the NBA. Like, come on, man. You're one of the better players in the league and one of the better young stars. Like, bro, we just want to talk about you playing basketball. We don't want to talk about you doing anything else. We want to talk about you playing basketball. And yeah, I kind of like the grenade thing. I like that. But even him doing the whole gun thing, bro, you just got, bro, look,
you just
pay
came back.
attention. Pay
She just let
attention.
you back in, baby.
So it's just like when I
You
see
went
those
and
things,
cheated again.
it's maturity. Like that's nothing but being just immature. That's
Well,
immature.
where is everybody? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
We can
clearly
talk about him
his
maturing
dad
here,
trying to
but
be his dad was too busy trying to be old man Usher on the sideline. So clearly he ain't getting he ain't getting the conversation from him. And I don't know, he might not have anybody else because he might be the guy because he's the breadwinner for his people. So he might not have somebody that's able to talk to him, kind of keep him like, hey man, like just play basketball, bro. Like you already lost a bunch of money. You lost a basically a whole year because of your antics. It wasn't because of injury or nothing, because of your antics, bro. Like, come on, man. You one of the better players in the league. If you weren't such a great player, you would have been already been out doing all
yeah.
the stuff that you was doing. You'd have already been gone. So it's just like, dude, like, just mature, man. I'm not trying to sound like a one of them old man or like you know
No, cause
boring
have
people.
fun.
Like,
We don't want to
have
take the fun
fun.
of the game away,
But don't
but
be ignorant. You know why it was a problem. Don't be ignorant about it. You know why it's a problem, Ja. You knew why it was a problem to do this. You for you. You know why it was a problem, bro. Come on, man. Like let's just be better, bro. As a black man too, be better, bro. Like, come on. My dad, like he always tells me, like, for black people, they're always looking for something for you to fall short and mess up on. Like, be better. Be better.
As we end the show, Tristan, we're going to take a into the finish all this NBA talk with something we're not going to do. We haven't done normally. I don't, but it's so big in NBA world that we got to talk about it. The NBA on TNT is no more. What a time to be alive, man. Oh, that
Listen,
chemistry is unmatched. We'll never see it again.
unmatched. We will not see it like that again. And it's so sad because we're not going to see it like that again. Shout outs to Kenny, shout outs to Chuck, shout outs to Shaq, shout out to the, as they call him, the Godfather, Ernie, EJ. Like, we will not see TV like that
No.
anywhere. It just won't. It won't be like that. Whether it's the company they work for giving them restrictions, whether it's them, people that have shows that take it too far. They were the
Yes.
right balance, right mix of guys, and it was just incredible to see. And watching what they said about Ernie, because Ernie is definitely one of the goats. Watching
Yes.
what Ernie said about it was a tearjerker. If there was anything that was
Oh,
tearjerker, was that.
yeah.
um it
I
was
got
it was
something out of it.
it was amazing, and I'm definitely going to miss watching
Oh, what are we gonna do
NBA
next
on TNT.
basketball
I
season
don't know.
without
I don't know
NBA
who
on
to
TV?
cling
You
to.
almost forgot that it was a I mean, you knew they was talking basketball, but it became like
You
watching
tuned in for
Saturday
them.
Night Live or
Yeah,
something.
you
Like
tuned in for them. Yeah.
it's not like, oh, this commentary sucks. It's just like, and then one person say something crazy, and then everybody's laughing. Shaq's falling with the tree. Chuck beating them to the board. It's just you saw people genuinely okay with going to work, and I think, and black men, and I think that's beautiful. I think, I know for me, when Kobe died, it was great to watch like ESPN and everything, but to see them black men, to see Ernie sitting there and facilitating that, and facilitating the emotions behind loss. I I think how they take care of everything is unmatched, and I just wish TNT could have done a little bit better. I'm so sorry. I just wish TNT could have done a little bit better.
I wish they could have fought a little harder. I wish they could
Yeah.
have fought harder for those guys to remain and to be intact. I think they will feel it, and it'll already it's already too late. I think they will feel the ramifications um, of that happening, and it was one of those, when it first came about that they were talking about it, the possible breakup, and we were all like, "Ain't no way," because we're watching it. We're like, "Ain't no way y'all can get this off TV, no way." But unfortunately, it's here. It's the nature of the beast. Um,
Oh.
yeah, it's
Oh,
tough.
what a time to be a end of an era. Oh, unmatched. And we're unmatched. We complete another edition. 146 coming your way. I'ma say it how I say it every week. I don't care if it doesn't rhyme, it's still mine. I'm McKell like Kevin McKell. For me, Tristan. Hi, Sienna.
Yeah,
We
hey,
say goodbye, America. Peace.
peace. Say peace.
She's like, whatever.